I just can't get 100 back. Homie just won 100 cons. And see 25. And average on the 21. 21, 21, 21. That's the agent of my number one. Baby, it was a drum line. Robert King when the drums come, yeah.
What's going on, everyone? I am at Parceo Philly, uniting all through sports and culture. Now, today, guys, I'm gonna have a very special episode for you because you guys know my intent of trying to reach out other fans that are not just Union or MLS. I'm trying to reach fans from a worldwide spectrum. And what better way to dive into this Champions League play? We're less than 2 weeks away from the start of Champions League. The groups are already set. The matchup dates are set as well. And today, I'm going to give you my reactions on the groups as well as go over what I think will happen in these groups. And if you guys haven't already, highly recommend subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell button for notifications, and sharing this because I plan on doing a lot more soccer related content and you're not going to want to miss it. But guys, let's get this episode started. Let's get it! Alright guys, and let's start it off with the first group, and that will be Group A. And in this group we have Club Brugge from Belgium, we have Galatasaray from Turkey, PSG Paris Saint-Germain from France, and we have Real Madrid from Spain. Let's start off with who I think will finish dead last in this group, and that will be Club Brugge from Belgium. And last year this club finished in second place. And this season Club Brugge are going to be led by a new manager, Felipe Clement, who actually is coming over from the rival Genk, who he was the manager for the last 2 seasons. The leading goal scorer for this team, Han Vanaken, who scored 14 goals in the Belgian league. Also, we have to note, obviously me living here in America, even Horvath is a goalie here for Club Brugge. He does see some time. Not sure if he will actually see some Champions League, but if he does, that would be pretty sick seeing another American in this Champions League. This Champions League is full. They made Europa League after being eliminated from Champions League in the group stages last season. Alright guys, in third place, I believe we will see Galatasaray from Turkey, and last season Galatasaray finished as the winner of the Super League in Turkey. Now they're led by Turkish legend Fatih Terim, who over the past decade has gone back and forth between Galatasaray and the Turkish national team as their manager. Last season, Galatasaray's leading goal scorer was Henry Onyekuru, who Everton finally decided to sell off to Monaco. So to replace those 14 goals, what did Galatasaray do? They went to my country, Colombia, to get one of our legends, Radamel Falcao, now in his 30s, not the striker that we once knew, but should be a boost for Galatasaray, and the expectation is he will take on the goal scoring responsibilities for this club. Now last year Galatasaray did make Champions League but were bounced in the group stages. The expectation is going to be very tough for Galatasaray to compete in this group with an aging Falcao. I just don't see them doing much, and they finish in third in Group A. Alright, in second place, guys, the runner-ups, and to qualify for the playoff round, we have Real Madrid, who finished in third place last season in La Liga, and obviously last year it was a little bit of a mess for them. After going through 2 managers, Real Madrid went back to a familiar face and brought back Zinedine Zidane, who somehow agreed to come back to Real Madrid after winning 2 Champions Leagues. But for Zidane, he's going into his 3.5 season with Real Madrid. Last season, Real Madrid's leading goal scorer was Karim Benzema, who led the team with 21 goals. He is back this season. They did, however, add on Eden Hazard from Chelsea as well as Luka Jokic from Eintracht Frankfurt. The expectation will be that these two will help with the attack because obviously Real Madrid are still trying to figure out how to replace the production of Cristiano Ronaldo, which didn't get fixed last season. Last year, Real Madrid did make the round of 16 as they won their group, but were bounced in upset fashion by Ajax, which, you know, they went on a little run last year. So can't fault them too much. But this year, I got them finishing in second. And the winner of the group, no surprise here, I have PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously, they're the league of kings. They are just dominating that league, and the problem has been this tournament in particular. They did bring back, however, Thomas Tuchel, who's entering his second season as the manager of PSG, and they're all going to be led by the right leg, of Kylian Mbappe, who last year scored 39 goals. And to bolster this attack, PSG did bring in the controversial Mauro Icardi from Inter Milan, and the hope is that Mauro is going to leave Wanda in Italy and is going to perform for PSG. This is already a pretty deadly attack. We're talking about Cavani, Mbappe, Icardi, and Neymar. There's some characters, but if these guys can click together, it's going to be dangerous for PSG. We will see what they do. They also did bring in Keylor Navas, a proven Champions League goalie, and I really love that move for them. We'll see what happens to PSG if they go on to the next round of Champions League. But I really like the squad. All right, guys, let's move on to Group B. And in this group this year, we have Bayern Munich from Germany, Olympiacos from Greece, Red Star Belgrade from Serbia, and Tottenham Hotspur from England. And let's start off with who I believe will finish in last place. And unfortunately, I have Olympiacos here, who last season finished second in Super League 1 in Greece. They are managed by Pedro Martins, who's entering his second season as manager of Olympiacos. They are led by last season's league goal scorer Kostas Fortounis, who had 12 goals last season. Not too many big moves from Olympiacos when you have the budget that they have, but they did bring in Ruben Semedo from Villarreal, and they also did bring in Christian Belgique, who is coming over from West Ham United. Last time these guys were in Champions League was 2017 to 2018 campaign, where they got knocked out in the group stages. Not much talent here, so I got them finishing in last. Next up in third place, we have Red Star Belgrade, who won the Serbian Super League last year and are led by Vladan Mihalovic, who actually played for Red Star Belgrade, and he is entering his third season as manager of Red Star. They are led by their leading goal scorer, Ben Nabaumi, who had 17 goals in the Serbian Super League. Again, not many big signings, but they did bring in Mateo Garcia from Las Palmas in Spain, and Ruvan Labata from Huddersfield. Now, I saw Red Star Belgrade firsthand last season as they were in the same group as my Napoli, and did give us a little bit of a problem in our first Champions League matchup as we traveled to Belgrade. And I'll tell you what, that atmosphere during Champions League in Belgrade is definitely a home field advantage. They're going to use that to their advantage, but I don't see them making it to the next round, and will finish in third. Alright guys, the second place in Group B was really tough for me. It was really a toss-up here. But I think we will see Bayern Munich, who last year miraculously won Bundesliga. It came all the way to the end, but they won another Bundesliga. They are led by Niko Kovac, who's entering his second season as manager of Bayern Munich. We talk about Bayern Munich, you know where the goals are coming from. That's going to be on the right leg of the Polish striker Robert Lewandowski, who had 40 goals last season. And obviously this season, the talk was their big signing, bringing over Felipe Coutinho from Barcelona, and the thought is he's going to be the new face of Bayern Munich. Matching him with Lewandowski, it's pretty damn dangerous. They also did bring Ivan Perisic from Inter Milan, another nice piece for Bayern Munich, and you're starting to get a feel of a different Bayern Munich. The days of Robben, Ribéry, and Müller kind of going away. They're trying to get a new face, and this is a deadly attack that they have right now. But just don't think they have, but I think it'll be very close, but I don't think they win this group. Winners of this group, Tottenham Hotspur. Last season finished fourth in the Prem. They're led by great manager Mauricio Pochettino, who's entering now his sixth season with Tottenham Hotspur. It's been a minute now. And they're obviously led by Harry Kane, who last year still got 17 goals despite missing a lot of time with injury. And this year, to bolster the attack, they actually spent some money in the summer transfer period, bringing in Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis, and also bringing Tanguy Ndombele, who is going to be the real difference maker in Champions League, coming over from Lyon. Obviously, we all know Tottenham went all the way to the finals last year on a miraculous run. It was definitely a Cinderella story, but couldn't get the job done as they lost in the finals to Liverpool. This year, with a little bit more added firepower, the thought is they can either get back to the finals or win it. But for the Spurs team, it's time to win a trophy. All right, guys, we are on to Group C, where we have Shakhtar Donetsk, Atalanta, Dinamo Zagreb, and Manchester City. We'll start off with who I believe will finish in last. And unfortunately, I got Dinamo Zagreb finishing there. Last year, they finished first in the Previa HNL, which I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but they are led by manager Nenad Bijeka, who's entering his second season as manager of Dinamo. They are led by their leading scorer last year, Mario Granovic, who had 9 goals last season in Croatia. And last season, they were in the qualification rounds for group stage of Champions League, but couldn't make it through and did not qualify for the group stage. In third place, guys, we have Shakhtar Donetsk, the kings of the Ukrainian Premier League, and last season, they won it yet again. and they are led by Portuguese manager Luis Castro, who is entering his first season as manager of Shakhtar. Their lead scorer last year was Junior Moraes, who had 19 goals in the Ukrainian Premier League, and this year, to bolster that attack, they brought in Coyote from Manchester City. Now, last time we saw Shakhtar Donetsk last season, as they were in group stages but did not make it through the round of 16, and they are back again this year. I think the other teams ahead of them are just have better quality than them. They will give a fight, but I just see them finishing in third, possibly Europa League. Right, in second place, guys, we have the team I am super excited about, and that is Atalanta, the surprise team last year in Serie A, as they finished in third place and sneaking into Champions League, and this is the very first time Atalanta will be playing in Champions League. Huge accomplishment for Atalanta, and I honestly cannot wait to see Champions League nights in Bergamo, Italy. It's going to be something special. And the reason for this turnaround of Atalanta, we're talking about an Atalanta team throughout their history have been up and down through Serie B and through the middle of the table of Serie A. And the reason for this turnaround of Atalanta, their manager, Gianpiero Gasperini, who is now in his fourth season and has truly changed the culture in Bergamo. This is a team that was a selling team for most of its history, and now they are able to retain some of the players and create a special team that we are seeing in front of our eyes. And they're led by a leading goal scorer, my fellow Colombian, Duvan Zapata, who last year surprised all of Serie A by scoring 23 goals, just 3 behind Fabio Quagliarella, who was the leading goal scorer in Serie A. And this year, to bolster the attack, they brought in my other Colombian, Luis Muriel, who was on loan from Fiorentina, but Sevilla sold him on to Atalanta, and it's going to be super exciting seeing those two Colombians up top in that deadly attack for Atalanta. They also didn't bring in Martin Skrudel, who's coming over from Fenerbahce and has Champions League pedigree, as he also played for Liverpool as well. He will be replacing Mancini as that other center back there, and with that Champions League pedigree, I definitely believe that this is an upgrade for them. Really like this Atalanta team. It's going to be super exciting seeing Bergamo in Champions League, and I see them finishing in second. In first place, guys, no surprise here, I got Manchester City, the winners of the Premier League, and this is the only trophy that is eluding this club. And it'll all come down to Pep Guardiola, who is coming into his fourth season as manager of Manchester City, and will be led by the leading goal scorer, Kun Agüero, who last year had 21 goals. They did bring in João Cancelo from Juventus, the most expensive fullback in the world right now, and also did bring in Rodrigo, who's coming over from Atletico Madrid. 2 huge signings, which I think is going to help them try to get to that Champions League final and finally win a Champions League for Manchester City. We will see what happens, but City's got to get this trophy. Alright guys, in Group D, we have Atletico Madrid, Bayern Leverkusen, Juventus, and Lokomotiv Moscow. Let's start off with who I believe will finish in last place. That's going to be Lokomotiv Moscow, who's from Russia, who last year finished second in the Russian Premier League. They're led by Yuri Semin, who is entering his fourth season as manager of Moscow. They are led by Anton Mitrachuk, who led Lokomotiv in goals last year with 11 goals. And this year, to bolster this team, they brought in João Mario from Inter Milan. And I apologize for this mispronunciation, but they brought in Grigao Krajšović. I completely butchered that, but he's coming over from PSG. He is a Polish international. And last year, Lokomotiv Moscow did make Champions League, but were bounced in the group stage. And I believe that will happen again for Lokomotiv. In third place, I have Bayern Leverkusen from Germany, who finished in fourth place last year in the Bundesliga. They're led by coach Peter Bosz, who's entering his second season as manager of Leverkusen. And the leading goal scorer is Kai Havertz, who had 17 goals for Leverkusen last year. They did bring in Moussa Diaby, who's coming over from PSG, and also Karim Dembélé, who's coming over from Hoffenheim. These two expectations, they're going to help them with Champions League. Last time Bayern Leverkusen made Champions League was the 2016-2017 campaign, where they lost in the round of 16 to Atletico Madrid. Speaking of that team, Atletico Madrid is in this group as well, and I believe they will finish in second place. Now, last year Atleti finished second in La Liga, and they are managed by the great Diego Cholo Simeone, who's now entering his 9th season as Atleti's manager. That's incredible. 9 seasons as one of the top clubs in the Big Four league. That's great stuff by him. Now, last year we all know they were led by Antoine Griezmann with 15 goals, but obviously he's not with the team anymore. We won't discuss that, but To replace his production, they brought over young Portuguese golden child, João Philly, and the expectation he's going to replace that production that Griezmann left. They also did bring in Kieran Trippier from Tottenham, bringing over some Champions League pedigree. I believe he's going to have a huge role in their Champions League campaign. Last year, obviously, we know they had a pretty fun outing with Juve in the round of 16. After that first leg win, they went into Turin and lost that match, eliminating them from champions. And speaking of Juve is also in this group as well. And these teams really know each other well in this group here. But Juventus is back in Champions League after winning the Scudetto for 8th consecutive season. As a Napoli fan, pains me to say, this is a trophy that they really need to win. This is the only trophy that is eluding Juve. They're dominating Italy, not really doing much in Europe. To help with the obstacle of Champions League, they brought in Maurizio Sarri, who's coming over from Chelsea after a disappointing season. And I guess the thought is that they want to bring over the system that he comes with, and he knows Italy very well. We all know they're led by Cristiano Ronaldo, who had 21 goals last season, and they're probably going to rely on him again. They did, however, bring in Matthias de Ligt, who had a great Champions League last year and is the future of the Juve back line, and also brought in Arebo from PSG. Underrated signing. I really think he's going to help Champions League. Obviously, last year, Juve, it was the expectation they were going to win the whole thing, but they ran into a young, upstarting Ajax team who beat them in the quarterfinals. All right, guys, we are on to Group E, and this is the group I will have all eyes on because we have Napoli. We have Società Sportivo Calcio Napoli, we have Genk, we have RB Salzburg, and last but not least, man, I really gotta say this, we got Liverpool. We'll start off with who I believe will finish in last place in this group. I believe that will be Genk, who won the Belgian First Division last season and are led by Felice Matsu, who's entering his first season as the Genk manager. Leading goal scorer is Mbwana Samata, who had 23 goals last season. It's pretty impressive. And this is the first time they are in Champions League since 2010-2011. Didn't really make it, but they were in the qualifying playoff rounds and couldn't make it to the group stage. I believe Genk will have a tough time in this group. All right, guys, in third place, we have Red Bull Salzburg, the kings of the Austrian Bundesliga, and they actually won another Austrian Bundesliga title last season, finishing in first. This year, they have a new manager, someone we know very well here in America, Jesse Marsch, MLS legend, coached New York Red Bulls for a couple of seasons. Actually, Red Bulls played their best football during that time. He is replacing Marco Rose, who's in Bundesliga right now with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Jesse's going to have some big shoes to fill. Last year, they were led by Juanes de Boer, who had 20 goals last season, and he's off now to Sevilla. This year, they're going to rely on Patson Daka, someone I've had a close eye on since last season, Hwang Hee-chan, and Erling Haaland. Those three are going to have the responsibility of keeping the attack rolling for Salzburg. Now, they did bring in Maximilian Wober from Sevilla, a midfielder, and they actually made the playoff round for Champions League last year before getting bounced and sent to Europa League. Now, they did make the playoff round for the Champions League last year, but couldn't make it to the group stages and were sent off to Europa League. All right, guys, in second place, this is very tough for me to say, but I think it's going to be a very close group, but I got my Napoli finishing in second place. Now, last year, obviously, we finished second again in Serie A. It wasn't as close as many years, but Carlo Ancelotti is entering his second season, and the hope is Carlo's second year of influence is going to help this team get to that next level. Napoli is led by Arkadiusz Milik, who had 17 goals last year. A breakout year for him, who finally was able to sustain some health throughout the season last year and show his talent. Now, to bolster this club, Napoli brought in Chucky Lozano from PSV, the young Mexican golden child, as well as bringing Kostas Manolas from Roma, who's got some Champions League pedigree. If you guys remember that semifinals between Roma and Barcelona 2 years ago. And the plan is matching him up with Kalidou Koulibaly, giving us the best center-back duo in Europe. Now, obviously, I believe Napoli is going to qualify for the next round. Problem is, running into Liverpool again. Not only does Napoli have an issue playing this team, but Liverpool's got Carlo Ancelotti's number as well. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to keep my Posidelphia mentality for this matchup against Liverpool, but man, we all know how good Liverpool is. Let's talk about them, because they did finish in second in the Premier League, very close though to Man City for that Prem title, and they're led by Jurgen Klopp, one of the best managers in the world right now. He's entering his 5th season as the manager of Liverpool. And we know they're led by the left leg of Mohamed Salah, who got 22 goals last season, and really, to be honest with you, didn't bring in many players to bolster this team. And if you want to talk about any signs that they did get, maybe we can talk about Sepp Vandenberg, who's coming over from PSC. We all know that the Dutch league does produce some good young talent, but he's not going to really help his team right now. And also did bring in Adrian. Has actually been crucial for them. They were in need of a backup goalie, and Alisson did miss some time already this season. We all know Liverpool are the reigning Champions League winners, so they know a thing or two about this tournament. Obviously, it's a new season, and then there's other teams who are hungry for the title as well. But I mean, I just see this team making another run. We'll see if they win or not, but man, it really pains me to say, but Liverpool's gonna win this group. Fuck. Soccer gods, why must you match us up with Liverpool again? Alright guys, we are now at Group F, and this is more than likely going to be this year's group of death. We don't have 4 good teams, but we have 3 really strong teams. We got Slavia Praha, Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, and Inter Milan. Alright, in last place of this group, no surprise here, I have Slavia Prague, who actually won the Czech First League last season. They are led by manager Jindřich Širkovský, who is entering his 3rd season as manager of Slavia. They are led by midfielder Tomáš Souček, who had 13 goals in last year's Czech League. Now, last year, Slavia made it all the way to the 3rd qualifying round of Champions League, but could not make it to the group stage. With the other 3 teams being so damn good, I just don't see how Slavia can even get a point here. God, I'm finishing last. And alright, in 3rd place, we have the representative from Italy in this group, and that is Inter Milan. And they were in a very tough group last year with Tottenham and PSV. Now this year they get Barcelona again, and it's again another tough group with Borussia Dortmund in here as well. Now last season, Inter just snuck into Champions League qualification as they finished in 4th in Serie A, and it took them till the last day of the Serie A season for them to qualify. Obviously, the big news this offseason was the appointment of their new manager, Antonio Conte, who has a long track record of success all over Europe, as he was a manager of Juve, Italian national team, as well as Chelsea. He won trophies with both Juve and Chelsea, and the thought is with Inter is that he's going to bring them a trophy again. Now, last season, despite the drama-filled season that was Inter's 2018-2019 Campionato in Serie A, Mauro Icardi was the lead of that drama and still wound up being the lead goal scorer for this club. Now, his 11 goals need to be replaced by Inter, especially if they want to make a run in Champions League. What do? They went out and brought in a Romelu Lukaku to fill in the void that Mauro Icardi left. Now, obviously, Lukaku has the pedigree of European football with his time at Manchester United, and Conte is going to rely on him to bring in some goal scoring and some leadership to this Inter squad. They also did bring in Nicolo Barella from Cagliari. He is absolutely one of the more promising young Italian midfielders that nation has. And he's going to replace Raja Nainggolan. I really like him at that midfield. Obviously, last season, Inter started off Champions League hot. It looked like they were going to go through. Tottenham got their quick hot spur, no pun intended, and jumped over Inter on the last day of Champions League group stage play and eliminated Inter. I think Antonio Conte and the moves that Inter have been making are good moves for this team. However, in Conte's first season, I don't see them doing anything too crazy. I see them finishing 3rd in this group and heading on to Europa League. Alright guys, in 2nd place we have Borussia Dortmund, who last season finished just 2nd in the Bundesliga. They were in the top of the table for most of the season until Bayern Munich caught up to them at the end. Big season this year for Borussia Dortmund, who are going through what you could call a golden era for Dortmund football. This is one of the most talented teams we have seen in Dortmund side in quite a while. Now, Dortmund are led by Lucien Favre, the Swiss manager, who is heading into his 2nd season as manager of Dortmund. Last year, Dortmund's attack was led by Paco Alcácer, who led the team with 18 goals. Now, Dortmund added 3 key players to this roster to elevate them to the next level. And I was a really big fan of these guys. Bringing in Thorgan Hazard from Borussia Mönchengladbach, Julian Brandt from Bayern Leverkusen, and Mats Hummels is coming back after spending a couple seasons with Bayern Munich, is back in Dortmund. And these 3 truly and honestly make this team better than it already was. Obviously, this team's attack all relies on the youngster Jadon Sancho, who absolutely had a coming out party last season, and this year the expectation's high for him. It seems like the success is going to lie on the back of him. I truly think this is a good nucleus of the team. Now, obviously, last year in Champions League, Dortmund qualified for the next round, the round of 16, but got eliminated in the first round to Tottenham Hotspur. I think Dortmund and Inter are going to be very close, but I think Dortmund will have just enough to move on to the round of 16. All right, in first place in this group, no surprise here, the Kings of Spain, Barcelona, who last year won La Liga yet again. And Barcelona again are led by Spanish manager Ernesto Valverde, who's entering now his third season as manager of Barca. And obviously when we talk about Barca, the face of this team is Lionel Messi, and they're going to keep relying on his left foot. And last year, he scored 36 goals in La Liga alone. This year, obviously, the big move was bringing Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid, a proven star who has a World Cup. They're going to hope that he is the missing piece for Barca to get back that Champions League trophy. Despite Barca's attempt to try to bring Neymar back to the Camp Nou, it did not prevail at the end. And the long-awaited signing, Frenkie de Jong, is the other big signing for Barcelona. We all remember Frenkie de Jong, miraculous Champions League last season, leading Ajax all the way to the semi-final. And now he's bringing his talents over to Barcelona. With these two players, Barcelona has some high hopes, and they're really expecting to bring the trophy back. Obviously, last year, things didn't end the way they wanted to in Champions League. They had one of the most epic failures in Champions League history, leading 3-0 in the first leg, going back to Liverpool, losing that match 4-0. Barcelona honestly wasn't the same after that loss. They have to put that semifinals away and focus on this year because this is a really good team. This is honestly the favorite in my opinion to win it all. We will see how they do, but I do see them winning this group. Alright guys, in Group G we have probably the weakest group of Champions League play. And we got Benfica from Portugal, Club Lyon from France, RB Leipzig from Bundesliga, and Club Zenit from the Russian Premier League. Alright, I think this group is going to be very tight, but in last place, I see Benfica finishing here. Now, last season, Benfica finished first in La Primera Liga and are led by manager Bruno Lage, who's entering his first season as manager of the senior team after spending last season with Benfica's B team. Last year, Benfica would rely on Haris Seferovic, the 27-year-old Swiss international, and obviously we all know about the loss of João Félix, who's over with Atletico Madrid last year, but he definitely had it coming out last season. Now, last season, Benfica did make Champions League, but didn't advance to the round of 16, then relegated to Europa League. Alright guys, in third place, we got the energy drink team from Leipzig. Now, Leipzig is back after missing out on Champions League last season, and this year they are led by new manager Julian Nagelsmann, who is taking over Ralf Rangnick, who is back as the sporting director for Leipzig. Now, Nagelsmann is coming over from Hoffenheim after impressing there. Now he's on to Leipzig, and this is a great opportunity for him. Leipzig last season were led by leading goal scorer Timo Werner. Not really many too big signings for Leipzig this past summer, but they did bring in Ademola Lookman, a forward from Everton, to help bolster the attack. I think Leipzig will have a good showing in this Champions League as they are back again, but I just don't think they will make it through, and they will finish in third, relegating them back to Europa League. In second place, guys, we have Lyon, who last season finished in third in Ligue 1. Now, Club Lyon are led by new men. Now, Lyon is led by Salvinho, who is entering his first season as manager of Lyon. He's taking over for Bruno Gensinho, who actually took over a job at Beijing, and China with Beijing. Now, last season, Lyon was led by Moussa Dembele as the leading goal scorer for this team. Now, Lyon unfortunately lost some key pieces like Fekir and Tanguy and Ndombele, who both went to Real Betis and Tottenham respectively. Those are two huge losses that made them a very dangerous team last season, especially making that midfield very, very daunting. Now, Lyon did bring in Jeff Rains from Angers and Thiago Mendes from Club Lille. So hopefully these two can possibly fill in those roles left by those two midfielders. We'll see what type of team we get out of Lyon. I definitely don't see the same team we saw last year who in Champions League upset Man City in that first game and made it to the round of 16. But I still think they will have enough to make it to the round of 16. They finished in second. And in first place, I don't know how I don't put this team at the top of this group, and that is Club Zenit from Russia, who won the Russian Premier League yet again last season and are led by manager Sergei Sima. Now last season, Zenit was led by 23-year-old Argentine international Sebastian Risi, and this year I think their attack got even better as they got Malcolm from Barcelona to join this attack. A quality forward who has something to prove with Zenit. And they also did bring in my fellow Colombian, Wilmer Barrios, who, quite frankly, after watching Copa America this summer, he was the best player in Copa America. Don't at me. Now, it's been quite a while since Zenit has actually made Champions League. We have to go back to 2015-2016 campaign when Zenit actually made it to the round of 16. It's been a while, but hopefully Zenit make this Champions League memorable for us. All right, guys, we are down to the last group here, and that is Group H. And in this group, guys, we have Chelsea FC from England, Valencia from La Liga in Spain, and from the Everdice League in Holland, and last but not least, Club Lille from France. Now in Group H, there's just a lot of question marks with all four of these clubs. But in last place, I think we will see Club Lille, who last season were the runner-ups of Ligue 1 behind the great PSG. And they are led by manager Christophe Galtier, who is now entering his third season as manager of Lille. Now last season, Lille relied on the leg of Nicolas Pepe, who had 23 goals for the club. He's now on to Arsenal as he was one of the hot commodities during the transfer period. Who they bring in to replace his reduction? No farther than here in the United States, as they signed Timothy Weah from PSG after a loan spell with Celtic last season, and there is some high expectations for the young American, which I think he will accomplish. They also did bring in Renato Sanchez from Bayern Munich, the young Portuguese midfielder who wasn't really panning out in Bayern. Moving to Lille, this is getting a good opportunity for him to jumpstart his career. I really like both of those moves for Club Lille. Now, this is the first time Lille is actually in Champions League since the 2014-2015 Champions League campaign. Like I said, I think this will be another close group. I think Lille will give it a battle, but don't think they will have enough, and they will finish in last in Group H. Now in third place, guys, I have a little bit of a surprise. I have Ajax here. Now last season, we all know they went on that miraculous Champions League run, making it all the way to semifinals, where they just fell short of making it to the Champions League final. But the problem is, they lost a lot of pieces from that miraculous run, and especially those two key pieces, that was Matthijs de Ligt and also Frankie de Jong. Those were critical parts of that Champions League run. Ajax last season won the Everdice as well, and they are led by their fearless manager, Erik ten Hag, who is entering now his third season as manager of Ajax. And this is going to be definitely his most difficult season that he's had as manager of Ajax. Now this summer, Ajax did go out to North America to find Edinson Alvarez, a forward from Club America in Mexico, a defender, and also brought in forward Quincy Promes, who's coming over from Sevilla. It's going to be difficult with all the expectations after last season for Ajax to repeat what they did, but what they did was incredible, and I just think they are missing too many pieces from last year's team, and I don't see them qualifying for the round of 16. They'll finish in third and get relegated to Europa League. In second place, guys, we have Valencia from La Liga, who last season finished fourth in the league. Valencia are led by manager Marcelino Garcia. Now, last year, Valencia were led by their Spanish forward, Rodri, who led the team with 15 goals. And this year, to bolster the squad, they did bring in some guys, no one too impactful. They expect Maxi Gomez, a young 23-year-old Uruguayan international, who's coming over from Celta to help with the attack. And also keep an eye out on Jasper Krielsen, who's coming over from Barcelona, a young Dutch goalkeeper, who they did spend some money for. Now, obviously, last year, Valencia dealt with a tough group. They were in a group with Manchester United and Juventus, and in the end, they just missed out on the round of 16 and were relegated to Europa League. This year, their group is a little bit more easier, but it's up in the air. Honestly, any four of these teams can qualify for the next round. I personally think that Valencia have enough this season to do it, and I see them finishing in second. All right, guys, the winner of this group, I believe, will be Chelsea from the Premier League. And last season, Chelsea finished just fourth, just sneaking into the qualifications for Champions League. After a season full of drama, and ups and downs with Maurizio Sarri not clicking with this team. That team last year somehow found a way to sneak in the Champions League and also found a way to win Europa League. Not bad by a team that was full of just outright drama. This team feels like a real Chelsea team. They brought over club legend Frank Lampard, who had a stint with Derby County, did a pretty solid job with Derby. Now he's in his first season managing his club of Chelsea. And Lampard is definitely bringing those old Chelsea feels back of the Mourinho days with Drogba, Lampard, and John Terry, as he is giving chances back to the youth of Chelsea. Because as we all know, they went through a transfer ban this summer, so really couldn't bring in any players. But luckily, they were able to bring in the young American wonder kid Christian Pulisic to Chelsea before they were sanctioned with that ban. So that's the only real move that they were able to make. But he should have an impact on this team. Now, last season, their leading goal scorer was Eden Hazard, who's obviously off to Real Madrid. So they're going to rely on a system and these young players to create some goals for Chelsea. Now, obviously, it's going to be a tough time for Frank Lampard and Chelsea to transition to the Premier League with Champions League, and they will definitely struggle, but I think that Chelsea will just have enough to move on to the next round, into the round of 16. All right, guys, those are my group stage reactions and what I believe will happen this year in Champions League. I will say the groups this season are pretty even out. There isn't like a legit group of death. We can say that Group F maybe be that group of death with those 3 really good teams, but there's no group that has 4 daunting teams. I'm doing a review show after every Champions League week. Champions League to me is one of the best tournaments we have in the world. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Literally, we have the best soccer players in this one tournament. It's going to be exciting, guys. If I had to pick right now, my early favorite will be Barcelona. You know, Barca is going all in on this tournament, and I think that they will win this. But guys, let me know in the comments below who you think will win Champions League and what are your thoughts on my opinion on this Champions League. But thanks again, guys. I really appreciate if you did watch. But please, if you did like what you see, please, I could use your guys' help. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, and share this. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, and we are 13 subscribers away, and I could really use your guys' help to help me grow. But until next time, I'm at Parceo Philly, and I'll see you later.